Hey everybody, this is Chris Colati from the vCloud Hybrid Service Technical Marketing Team. As you can see today, I'm actually going to be doing something a little different for VMworld this year. I've never actually tried this. I've got my good friend and colleague Jay Marshall on a Skype call today. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about what Jay's sessions are. You guys always get to hear about what my sessions are, and I'm always pimping out my own stuff. So this is actually my opportunity to pimp Jay out. So we're going to call this Chris Pimps Out Jay's Sessions.
Nice.
He offered me money, but we're not going to take any. Maybe something at VMworld. So, Jay, introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Hey guys, Jay Marshall. I'm a Senior Technical Solutions Architect on the vCloud Hybrid Service platform. As Chris mentioned, we work very closely on the platform. He's a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll. He'll be more the IT side, I'm more the developer side. I've been doing development my whole career, here to focus on cloud development activities on our cloud. So thanks for having me, Chris. Appreciate this.
No, I think this will be cool. I might do this with a couple other folks too. So Jay, you're not new to VMware. How long have you actually been at VMware?
Yeah, I've actually been here since June of 2011 is when I first joined the organization. They brought me in as a little bit of a different kind of an SE. I was originally in the field. So I ended up as a developer. That was back when we had our spring source technologies and a lot of the things that got spun off to Pivotal. So I've been here for 3 years, very familiar with the whole stack, and now back to focus on cloud.
Cool. Awesome. Well, so people get to know you as a person, right? I think you got a couple of dogs, right?
Some people refer to them as dogs. Yeah, they're Cane Corsos. They're Italian Mastiffs. So they go about 120, 130 pounds a piece. So they're friendly once you get to know them. But yeah, we'll go with dogs.
We'll go with dogs. And you live on a vineyard? You bought a vineyard?
Yeah, it's funny because people also spin that a little bit. So there were grapes. So I've been spending the better part of the past year planting posts and getting the whole thing growing. So yeah, got about a quarter acre worth of grapes, and fingers crossed we'll be pulling some stuff off this year.
Great. So you got grapes. I got a hay field. Between the two of us on opposite sides of the country, we could.
Oh yeah,
we're good to go.
When the apocalypse comes, we're ready.
Yeah, exactly.
You can drink at least. I don't know if you have food, but
this is true. So how many VMworlds have you actually? Well, let me ask you this: how many VMworlds have you attended, and how many have you actually presented at?
So I've attended 3. Presented. This will be my second one I'm presenting at. I actually have 4 sessions this year, so I might be a little bit of a busy boy.
Ah, wow.
I'm no Scolati, but I got
no.
4.
Somebody actually beat me this year. See, I actually went under the theory of you submit 2, you get 4. If you submit 4, it's basically self-masochism, or however you say it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel right now. But we should be good to go.
Great. So what I want to do is I'm going to have, in the blog post that this is attached to, we're going to list all your sessions. But what I'd like folks to understand, so you kind of mentioned I'm IT, you're a developer, and that kind of always gives us a little bit of an interesting cross-section of the world, right? So you've got 4 sessions, and in terms of end users, people coming to this are typically, IT admins. Of your 4, so I want you to think about this very carefully because it could change the traffic that comes into your sessions. How would you rank the 4 sessions from knowing the attendance model being mostly IT professionals? Which ones would you like to see them go to in ranking order, and why? And that might, there might be some danger to that, but I want to have everybody have an opportunity as to what you think they'll get.
Sure. So I'll answer it maybe a little bit differently. I do think that probably the one that's going to hit the VMware technologies the hardest and be most IT-centric is the smells like team spirit, achieve hybrid operations Nirvana with vCloud Hybrid Service. I'm a musician, by the way, too, so that's where that came from.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to ask you about that.
But the reason that I put that one kind of first is we're going to look at things like vCloud Automation Center, Application Director, and one of my colleagues that I used to work with in the field is going to be doing that session with me. And we're going to be doing a lot of that developer versus IT admin role playing. So I think it's a good way to get hands-on with the tools. We're going to build an app, deploy it live in the cloud, deploy it on premises. So that's probably the most day-to-day real session. But we're also doing things with Chef. We have a session called Stick a Knife in It. Chef plus vCloud Hybrid Service is a well-done cloud. So if folks out there are doing the DevOpsy stuff, we obviously have a lot of great stuff with Puppet. So this is kind of the Chef side of it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a little bit more just guidance on where to get started with cloud, maybe a little bit less hands-on, but a way to look at how to implement. I'm doing a hybrid sandboxing class with one of our teammates, Rashni Pari, and we're going to be looking at different use cases and ways to start with cloud. So I'm doing a rehash of a session I did a couple of years ago called Build Your First Mobile Application in the Cloud in 60 Minutes. So that one's just pure fun. When I did a couple of years ago, even though, like you said, a lot of IT folks coming in usually hate developers like me, we actually built an app together from scratch, and everybody took the source code home with them. And I actually had some folks come back and tell me they built their own mobile app. So we're going to refresh it with some of our new technologies. So I don't know if I answered that well, but
I think you, I think you did. So let's kind of back up a step. So first of all, if you are an IT person, you go to Jay's sessions, you are welcome to bring tomatoes to throw at the developer on stage. You know, just for fun. Yeah, we were talking about costumes at one point, but I think we put that aside. So put it in context for me, right? So I've always struggled with this. You know, when you talk about some of these sessions, and for the folks that watch this, believe me, Jay is smarter than I, well beyond my years when it comes to development. No, we both know. You gotta let me finish my sentence, right? People know Chris doesn't code, and there's a reason for that. We do what we do well, and I think what makes our working relationship so great is when we do have these ideas. I kind of come up with what I want, and you kind of come up with how you can build it. But when it comes to these topics, DevOps, development, chef, right? I think chef. I'm thinking Gordon Ramsay, right? I want swears coming out, people yelling everywhere. I literally know very little about it. So just take. And this is going to be tough for you, but take 30 seconds. Give me your definition in layman's terms about what DevOps is.
Yeah, so DevOps, and maybe I'll put a little bit of context around even the session, just to kind of explain kind of why it's so relevant. So in this session itself, we're going to dig into just that. We're not going to spend an hour of just writing hardcore chef code and expecting everybody to be DevOps fluent. The process of DevOps, it is a process. It's about people and process. So whether it's Puppet or Chef, Ansible, Salt, the process, it's about infrastructure as code. So whereas for developers like me, maybe we're going to be writing pure Ruby code, with things like Puppet and with for infrastructure guys, it's being able to build repeatable processes and a lot of these JavaScript object notation like formats that allows you to have repeatable deployments. So whereas we do it with our own tools like VCAC and App Director, this is just another way people could choose to automate their environment.
Okay. All right. So now I get it a little bit more. So let me ask you this. I've said this in other presentations with David Hill that the role of the administrator is changing. It's changing a lot from what I knew as an administrator, right? Administrators previously, when they were dealing with private clouds, they were dealing with troubleshooting, break fix, upgrades, maintenance, right? They were dealing with a lot of just tactical stuff. How would you say the future is sort of changing from an administrator's role? And I don't want to scare people, but I've been saying this for a couple of years, that you've got to learn more than just how to fix ESX, right? If you're going to a public cloud or you're going to VCHS or another vCloud partner, you are not controlling the infrastructure, right? You're paying an SLA for somebody else to maintain the infrastructure, and you have to elevate to another level of role, right? So
Absolutely.
How would what would you say to people that are currently, administrators that are sort of on that cusp that, they've got to learn a whole bunch of new skills, and where do they start? Where's a good place for them to take me, for example? Where would you tell me to start to learn some of this stuff? Not that I'm going to, but I'm just saying.
No, actually, and you nailed it too. You nailed it with what you just said, because what I described before DevOps-wise was more just the IT-centric and what we're doing in the session. Where you start getting into the value prop of DevOps is more around continuous integration and continuous delivery, where coders are checking things in. It automatically builds, automatically provisions, day two operations like patch management and configuration drift. So to your point before, it's one thing to be able to build a cloud. It's another thing to be part of those discussions around how do I provide an environment that allows for extreme agility for development. Maybe you don't have developers, but even quickly being able to patch and release new versions of applications. And so what I've seen a lot in my travels even is, to your point, we're going to spin up a private cloud. That's awesome. But there's guys like Jay, right, that I'm out in the weekends in my underpants writing code on Amazon Web Services and some of these other cloud providers.
Wait, he's in the office, so he's got to be wearing pants.
Yeah.
It could go either way. I could or may not have pants on right now.
Yeah, I don't do it when I'm here, by the way. I know you can't see, but anyway. But it's providing those services and providing that instant on-demand access, not to just VMs, but to the entire development and deployment process. Gotcha. So that's actually most of my sessions, between the smells like team spirit, the stick a knife in it. Those two in particular are going to be focused on introducing those concepts and a little bit of how to.
Well, I will say, apparently you got more of the marketing spin on your titles than I did, because they're way more creative than mine.
That's the difference.
I don't know.
Scolati and people sign up.
No, they don't. That's
what I'm going to do. I'll just say I'm Chris Scolati, and then people will come to my.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Sometimes it does. You'd be unhappy. Sometimes you might get hit in the hallway. You never know. So
people won't blame me whenever they actually see me in person. I'm nowhere near as skinny and ripped as you are, but anyway.
So I don't want to make this too much longer, but if there's a couple key questions I want to ask, and I'm looking at some questions that I wrote down. From your perspective, real quick answer: which of your 4 sessions are you personally looking forward to the most?
The smells like team spirit one. I will tell everybody, I don't know when this is posting, but if you go to VMworldRocks.com, we're actually putting a little promo video together. We're making it very, very fun. As a musician, I will just say we're doing some fun things in the session and leave it at that. So I think personally, that's the one I'm looking most forward to.
Have you gotten all of your copyright notices in and all that for any?
That's the one funny thing. VMware attorneys won't help me with that stuff,
no.
So we'll see what all I can get accomplished by the end of the month.
Interesting. No, I don't have any videos going on that website. I don't know why.
You don't need them once again. I need to do
stop
this
it.
stuff.
This is about you, not me. I'm trying to interview you. Don't turn this around. Okay, so a couple other key questions. So if there was one thing that you wanted to tell people about vCloud Hybrid Service, from your perspective, and this has to be short because it's one thing, what would it be?
I think that from my perspective, it would be about just getting on the train now. I mentioned about starting 3 years ago. I spent a full year and some change on our core technologies, everything from Lab Manager up through VCD. I'm very familiar with the whole stack. And I think that, as you pointed out, there's a shift that's been coming. And the thing about our platform, which you work with more than I do on a daily basis, is that extension of the data center and having it be part of your own internal cloud. And I think that's the aspect that, even just kicking the tires and starting with some basic workloads, get started with the hybrid cloud and kind of see where we can take you with it as we continue to bake in a lot of these other technologies.
Cool. So I'll throw one other question at you. Well, 2. So this demo you're doing, is this going to be in our lab by any chance that I have to patch and update? And I'm just curious.
It's all taken care of. It's not an issue. And it won't need patched. I'm a developer. Just fix all that stuff.
Well, I might be breaking some stuff then. Well, all right, because I got to work on the lab. I have demos that I'm doing out of that lab. So, the last thing I'll ask is, I want the last thing that people to hear is, why should people come and see you? What are you gonna, what do you as a presenter offer to the audience? I think you're a great presenter personally. I think you're, the way you address the audience, your tone, your humor, but you personally, like, what does the Jay Marshall looking in the mirror say? Come see me because...
You know what? So I don't do that, first of all. No, I think that my perspective is very different because I was fortunate enough to spend time in the field, even though my background is different. So I do try really hard to have that blend of, hey, look, here's something I think you guys should think about moving forward, and maybe helping folks reach out across the aisle to folks that maybe you don't reach across the aisle to normally, or vice versa. So hopefully what I bring to the table is maybe a view into the other side and a little bit of a path to bring the two together. So, and to have some fun in the meantime, doesn't it?
So a view of the dark side. So I think one of your entrance themes should be the Imperial March. That would be pretty good, because that would actually fit, right? DevOps. I think. See, we could get creative. Little chef coat, maybe. for
Yeah,
the.
you're actually stealing some of my thoughts already.
Well, let's wrap this up because we're at about 15 minutes, but I think this would be great. I think this is a great opportunity for people to meet a speaker before they actually go. The easiest way to find Jay's sessions, to be honest, is to go into the catalog, just search for Marshall, Marshall, 1L, right, or 2Ls?
2Ls.
2Ls. You should get all of his sessions. By the way, it's the easiest way to find mine too. Just search for COLOTTI. So we'll pimp our.
Actually, no. Search for Marshall if you want to find out.
Yeah. Okay.
Sign up.
And I'll probably try to attend one of Jay's myself because I think he's a great presenter and I think the material is going to be awesome. So, Jay, thanks for taking the time out in Palo Alto, and I know you haven't been feeling well, so you don't even sound sick right now. And we'll get this posted, and hopefully we'll see some people at Jay's sessions. So
hey,
thank
Chris,
you.
I appreciate it, man. Seriously, thanks for doing this. Hope to see you guys out there.